inverting input terminal at virtual ground. Okay, we'll redraw the circuit and then you will get the idea about this. This is node V2, feedback resistor R1, some input signal we are provided here, V in, okay, and current is IB2, current through this one is IB1, this node is V1, this is V2, and current flowing is IF, load resistor, V0 through RL. Okay, this is an op-amp having plus VCC and minus VEA, input current IN. Okay, now what is the virtual ground concept is, see here, for this non-inverting input terminal, input voltage is equal to V1 and which is 0. V1 voltage is equal to 0. Okay, now we know that what is differential input voltage, VID is equal to V0 by A, right? Now here is again, consider A is 2 into 10 raised to 5, very high. So when any term which is divided by, ideally we are defining this one as infinity. So what is VID? VID is difference between the voltage at non-inverting and voltage at inverting, that is V1 minus V2. V1 minus V2 is called as differential input voltage, and that we are defining from this equation as V0 by A. A is infinite, so that this equation will reduce us to 0. Okay, so VID is approximately is equal to 0. If VID is approximately is equal to 0, this means that V1 minus V2 is equal to 0. Hence, we can write V1 is approximately equal to V2. Irrespective of, we have provided V into the inverting input terminal through resistor RF, R1, and again feedback we are providing through the feedback resistor. There is voltage, feedback voltage, but as V1 is equal to 0, we can also say that this input terminal is at 0 volt. What is the ordinary ground is, in ordinary ground, voltage at that point is 0, but current flowing through that point is infinite. So maximum current will be flowing. But the virtual ground will act as a ground for voltage but not for current. What it means is, voltage at this point is 0, but current is not equal to infinite. Maximum current is again here is equal to 0 because IB is flowing through the input resistance and RI is high. So current flowing into the input terminal is again minimum 1. Okay, so that we consider this input terminal is at virtual ground. It means that V1 is equal to 0, V2 is also is equal to 0. What is our first equation? That is by KCL. We have written the equation for input current, IN is equal to IF plus IB. Okay, but IB is very less and negligible, so IN is approximately is equal to IF. What we write for this? IN is VIN minus V2 by R1, that is voltage at this point minus voltage at this point by resistor R1. And for IF it is V2 minus V0 divided by RF. From this virtual ground concept, this is called as virtually grounded. Okay, where current is not maximum, current is also is equal to 0. And it means that this point will act as ground for voltage and not for current. As V2 is equal to 0, because we have V1 is equal to 0. So this means that if V1 is equal to V2, as V1 is equal to 0, V2 is also is equal to 0. So if this is the case, this equation is Vin by R1 is equal to this V2 minus V0 by RF. Rearrange this equation for gain. Rearrange the equation for gain and we can write feedback gain or gain with feedback AF is equal to V0 by V in. V0 divided by V in, RF will come to the numerator minus RF divided by R1. The same equation we have derived initially, that is gain with feedback for inverting amplifier is minus RF by R1. Make this one as equation number 7. Okay. So already we have derived 7. This is equation number 8. What is that? Gain of non-inverting amplifier is, inverting amplifier gain is minus RF by R1. That we have derived with the virtual ground concept. Okay. So again there are other parameters that we have to derive is input resistance with feedback. Again we have to derive. After that is what is output resistance, then bandwidth of the feedback and total output offset voltage. Okay. From virtual ground what we got is AF is equal to minus RF divided by R1, where we can set any small value as a gain for inverting amplifier, and which is not possible with the non-inverting amplifier with feedback. Now for this voltage shunt feedback amplifier we have to derive the input resistance with feedback. So to find out the input resistance we have to millerize the feedback resistor RF, and that is split RF into two Miller components that we have did here. Feedback resistor RF, one component we put at the input, that is RF by 1 plus A, and another component which is connected at the output, which is RF into A by 1 plus A. In this way we have millerized the feedback resistor RF, and this is nothing but the equivalent circuit of the operational amplifier, which will having Ri as the input resistance, R0 is the output resistance, and A into VID is the Thevenin's equivalent voltage source that we have here. With the help of these circuits, now we are finding out the input resistance in the input terminal, as we have provided input to the inverting input terminal. Here we want to find out the input resistance with feedback. When we are looking into the input terminal, we can see here the resistance that will be R1. At this node there is resistor R1, then again the millerized component of feedback resistor RF by 1 plus A, and the another resistance which is Ri is connected. So this feedback resistor RF by 1 plus A and Ri, these two are in parallel combinations, and R1 is in series with the parallel combination of Ri and RF by 1 plus A resistor. So how we can write the input resistance with feedback is resistance of the input signal. That is input resistance with feedback RIF is given as R1, which is in series with the parallel combination of RF by 1 plus A is in parallel with Ri. This is the exact value of input resistance with feedback. Now from the equivalent circuit we know that Ri is the open loop input resistance of the op-amp, and A is again the open loop voltage gain of the operational amplifier. So both input resistance Ri and open loop voltage gain A are very large parameters, as we can write there some of the typical values. When we compare here, we know that the Ri is 2 mega ohm and open loop gain A is 2 into 10 raised to 5. So when these two resistors are in parallel combination, its parallel combination will reduces to a very small value. You can also compute this and then compare that when we are having the parallel combination of two large values, then resistor values, then it will reduces to a smaller value. So we can again here, when we compare this value with resistor R1, will be very less. That is, this parallel combination will reduces near about to 0 ohm. RF by 1 plus A is in parallel with Ri is approximately is equal to 0 ohm. If this total parameter will reduces to 0, input resistance with feedback RIF will become is equal to R1, and this is the ideal input resistance of the inverting amplifier with feedback. Okay, so how we are finding out the input resistance with feedback RIF is approximately is equal to R1. Okay, so this is the value of input resistance with feedback. The next parameter that we want to find out here for the voltage shunt feedback amplifier is output resistance with feedback. That is, for output resistance, to find out output resistance, we have again redrawn the circuit, equivalent circuit of the operational amplifier, which is having input resistance Ri, open loop resistance, open loop output resistance, Thevenin's equivalent source. Now what is output resistance? How we are going to define the output resistance? Output resistance is nothing but the resistance measured at the output terminal of the circuit with independent sources that V in we are going to make 0. That V in will reduces to 0 and external voltage source will be applied at the output. So we are connecting V0 at the output and we want to find out the output resistance when we are looking back into the output terminal of the op amp. Okay. So V in will become is equal to 0 and V0 we are provided because of this output voltage source. There is one current flowing into the output terminal, that is I0. Okay. Now to find out this output resistance, how we can write the equation for output resistance with feedback? Output resistance with feedback is nothing but voltage, output voltage divided by output current, that is V0 by I0, if this is our first equation. Okay. Now here we know that I0 is the current at node N will get splitted into two current components. One is IA and another is IB current. Okay, so when we are writing the KCL, we can write I0 is equal to IA plus IB, that at node KCL incoming current is equal to outgoing current. Okay, so from the circuit diagram we can see that IA is the current which is flowing through output resistor R0 and which is ideally very less, and again practically will be having value in some ohms, less than 100 ohm. Now the current IB which is flowing here is flowing through the series combination of R1 and RF, whereas at this node we can see R1 is in parallel with the series combination of R1 and RF. We know Ri is a very high resistor which is 2 mega ohm. So this equivalent resistance will be again going to having the very large value in comparison with the R0 because of open loop input resistance. So because of Ri is in parallel with R1 plus RF will give very large value than R0. What happens is minimum current will be flowing into this terminal because this will having the maximum resistance. So minimum current flows into this terminal and hence we can write IA is the maximum current than current IB. IB is very small such that we can neglect this current that is flowing through the parallel combination of R1 Ri in series with R1 plus RF. So if IB is the negligible current, we can write the equation for output current I0 is approximately is equal to IA. What we got here is this I0 is equal to IA because IB is minimum current. Okay. Now we have to write the Kirchhoff's voltage equation KVL for the output loop of the op amp, that is starting from this to this. When we are writing KVL for this loop, we can write V0 is the voltage at this point minus voltage drop across the resistor R0 minus Thevenin's equivalent voltage drop. So when we are writing KVL at the output loop, our equation will be V0 minus I0 R0 minus A into VID is equal to 0. Okay. Now what we want is output current I0 we want to find out, because that we have to put into the first equation. So when we are rearranging, I0 R0 is equal to, this will we took at the right hand side, remaining is V0 minus A into VID. Negative will become positive. So for I0 it is V0 minus A into VID divided by R0. This is my output current. Okay. Now here again we got the term which is VID. What is VID? VID is nothing but difference between the voltage at input terminals V1 minus V2. Okay. So VID is V1 minus V2. What is the value of V1? V1 is connected to ground, so it is 0. V1 is equal to 0. But what about V2? V2 is nothing but feedback voltage VF, and that is nothing but voltage across the resistor R1. So that V2 is equal to VF, and VF is nothing but voltage across resistor R1. When we apply voltage divider rule, that VF voltage we can write as voltage across R1 is R1 divided by resistance of the voltage divider R1 plus RF, and what is input to this network? Output voltage into V0. So VF is nothing but R1 into V0 divided by R1 plus RF. Okay. Now VID is V1 minus V2. V1 is 0. V2 is VF, and VF is R1 into V0 by R1 plus RF. When we substitute into VID, it is 0 minus VF, or minus R1 into V0 by R1 plus RF. That can be written as minus B into V0, because this factor will represent the gain of feedback network B, R1 by R1 plus RF. So differential input voltage VID is minus B into V0. Now this equation number 5 we are going to substitute into equation number 4. That is for current equation. Okay. So when we are substituting the equation number 4 into equation number 5, we can write here equation number 5 in 4. I0 is V0 minus A. Here is VID is minus B into V0 divided by R0. Minus minus will reduce to plus, and we got V0 outside, then it is 1 plus AB divided by R0. This is if your output current is equation number 6. Now substitute this into the first equation. That equation for output resistance with feedback is V0 divided by I0. Now this I0 we are substituting this value here. So output resistance is V0 by I0 is V0 divided by V0 into 1 plus AB divided by R0. R0 will come to the numerator. V0 will get eliminated. What is remaining is 1 plus AB. Output resistance with feedback is equal to R0 by 1 plus AB. This is the required output resistance of inverting amplifier with feedback, and which is nothing but similar to the output resistance of the non-inverting amplifier, which is again having the same value, will get reduced by a factor of 1 by 1 plus AB. Okay. So this is the output resistance. The another parameter that we want to find out for voltage shunt feedback amplifier is the bandwidth. How we have defined the bandwidth is, the bandwidth is the band of frequencies for which gain will remain constant. We can refer the previous video for voltage series feedback amplifier, in which we have defined the bandwidth, and it is, we are finding out bandwidth with the help of voltage gain versus frequency curve. That is for open loop op amp, like this we got here, and this is the break frequency F0 starting from 0 Hz to some megahertz, and here is gain from 10 raised to minus 1 to 10 raised to 6. Here is 10 raised to 5. This is gain. Okay. So this is the band of frequencies for which gain will remain constant, is called as bandwidth. Now for inverting amplifier with feedback, we want to find out this bandwidth. This is for a single break frequency op amp, and which is already we have defined for the non-inverting amplifier. Bandwidth with feedback is F0 into 1 plus AB, where F0 is nothing but break frequency of the operational amplifier. And from the definition of single break frequency op amp, This F0 can be written as unity gain bandwidth divided by open loop voltage gain. That is UGB by A. Open loop voltage gain is A. When we are substituting this one into the equation here, what is our equation is this equation A. Then FF. What is F0? F0 is equal to UGB by A. UGB by A into 1 plus AB. This is for inverting amplifier. Now for inverting amplifier, we have gain with feedback is A into K by 1 plus AB. Okay. So that already we had derived this gain equation. Now if we have this gain for 1 plus AB by A, when we are rearranging this equation, 1 plus AB by A is K by AF. So the bandwidth with feedback is UGB by A into K by AF. Okay. So what we can write here is, it is unity gain bandwidth into K divided by 1 plus AB. Okay. So that it will simply give us that it is K by AF. UGB is equal to K by AF. A will not come here. It is UGB into K by AF. Similar to the bandwidth of non-inverting amplifier, but the K factor will be there, where K will be given as RF by 1 divided by R1 plus RF, and K may be less than 1. Okay. So we know that K will be having the less value, and that is maybe less than 1. If we selected the values of for both the gain factor, that is R1 is equal to RF, then again what should be the effect on the bandwidth, that we will see here. To find out the closed loop bandwidth of the inverting amplifier, we can use, if we know the value of break frequency F0, we can go with this equation, that is FF is equal to F0 into 1 plus AB. And if we know about the unity gain bandwidth, we can use the equation of FF is equal to UGB into K by AF. The closed loop bandwidth for inverting amplifier is lower than that. From this equation we can state that it is lower than that of the closed loop bandwidth of non-inverting amplifier, and by a factor of K, because K is less than 1. As for this is for inverting amplifier, for non-inverting amplifier it is simply UGB by A, and for inverting it is UGB into K by AF. K is less than 1. So for inverting amplifier, bandwidth is less than bandwidth of non-inverting amplifier. Now if we set gain is equal to 1, the closed loop gain is equal to 1, it means that RF is equal to R1. What will be the effect on bandwidth? If your voltage gain equal to 1, that is AF is equal to 1, how be your bandwidth will be? For non-inverting amplifier, this AF is equal to 1, then FF is equal to UGB. Okay. But about inverting amplifier, FF is equal to UGB by 2. How it will come is, which will become half of the bandwidth of non-inverting amplifier. As we have K is equal to, here see that what is the value of K is RF by R1 plus RF. For inverting amplifier, when gain is equal to 1, R1 will become is equal to RF. So K is equal to 1 divided by 1 plus 1, 1 by 2. So that will be equal to 1 by 2. So the gain or bandwidth with feedback for non-inverting amplifier, when we set the gain equal to 1, is UGB divided by 2. That is half of the bandwidth of non-inverting amplifier. Now if our closed loop voltage gain will approaches to the gain of the towards the open loop gain, A, means AF will be equal to A, then what should be the difference here is, the difference between the non-inverting and inverting amplifier bandwidths will be, how it will affect. If your AF is equal to A, equations will become as FF is equal to UGB into K by A, and for non-inverting it is UGB divided by A. So both equations will become same. So there will not be any difference. Both bandwidths will approaches to 0, because denominator will be very high. because we know that ideally A is infinite. So when your closed loop voltage gain approaches to the open loop gain A, the difference between both the inverting and non-inverting bandwidths will approaches to 0. So this is what we have seen about the bandwidth of the both amplifiers, that is inverting amplifier as well as the non-inverting amplifier. How the different gain factors according to this bandwidths will get affected, and when we are designing for the larger bandwidth we can go with the non-inverting amplifier, as this non-inverting configuration will have the larger bandwidth than that of the bandwidth of inverting amplifier, or it is bandwidth of voltage shunt feedback amplifier. In the previous, for voltage series feedback amplifier, we have also seen how we are calculated the bandwidth and the other parameters like total output offset voltage, and then the what is the next is special cases of the non-inverting amplifier. For voltage shunt feedback amplifier, till now we have derived its gain equation, input resistance, output resistance and bandwidth. And again we are going to find out the total output offset voltage. And somehow this voltage for both the inverting as well as non-inverting amplifier will remain same, that is total output offset voltage. Okay, how we have defined the total output offset voltage is total output offset voltage with feedback is equal to total output offset voltage without feedback divided by 1 plus AB. Total output offset voltage with feedback is given as total output offset voltage without feedback divided by 1 plus A into B. Okay, that is how we are representing is total output offset voltage is VOOT. Total output offset voltage is what is total output offset voltage without feedback. It may be either the positive or negative saturation. Total output offset voltage without feedback is nothing but the possible output voltage that can be produced by the open loop op amp, and which is either the positive saturation or the negative saturation. So we can define this one as plus or minus saturation voltage. This is the total output offset voltage can be produced by the open loop op amp divided by 1 plus A into B, where we know that Vsat is saturation voltages. Saturation voltage. Vsat is saturation voltage, and B value we already known about this is R1 divided by R1 plus RF. Okay, so this total output offset voltage is similar for both the inverting and non-inverting amplifier. How we have defined is as the open loop gain A for the amplifier will be reduced by A to A by 1 plus AB. In the same fashion, total output offset voltage will get reduced from plus minus Vsat to plus minus Vsat divided by 1 plus AB. That is, it will be reduced by a factor of 1 by 1 plus AB. Both the open loop gain is A, and that will get reduced to A by 1 plus AB. Similarly, for output offset voltage will get reduced by 1 by 1 plus AB times the output offset voltage without feedback. And this is similar for both the configurations of operational amplifier, that is inverting configuration as well as non-inverting configuration. Here that is the negative feedback, the effect of noise and variation in supply voltages and changes in temperature on the output voltage of the inverting amplifier will get reduced because of this negative feedback. These factors will get reduced, that is variation in supply voltages, maybe effect of change in temperature or the other effect of noise, that all effects will get reduced because of the negative feedback, as we are providing output to the inverting input terminal. Okay, so this is all about the negative feedback or voltage shunt feedback amplifier, which is nothing but inverting amplifier with feedback. For these configurations there are two special cases that are exhibiting. When what are these two cases, we'll see into the next lecture. Thank you.